I've spent more than 20 years uncovering lies, not just hearing them, but feeling them. The hesitation in a voice, the flicker in someone's eyes, the silence between words. After all these years, I thought nothing could surprise me anymore. I was wrong. My name is Detective Michael Donovan, 45 years old, senior investigator. People say experience makes you sharper. What they don't tell you is that it also makes you tired, not physically, but emotionally. Because when you spend your life seeing the worst in people, trust becomes a luxury you rarely afford. And yet, there was one person I trusted without hesitation: Dr. Emily Carter, forensic psychologist, brilliant mind, calm presence. For years, she had been my anchor in the chaos. When suspects lied, she saw through them. When victims broke down, she steadied them. And when I doubted myself, she reminded me who I was, or at least who I believed I was. The case began quietly. No dramatic entrance, no flashing lights, just a file placed on my desk with the word routine stamped across it. Missing financial records, internal discrepancies, administrative resignations that look coincidental. Assistant Chief Daniel Mercer barely looked up when he handed it to me. Keep it simple, Donovan. Accounting errors, nothing more. But something about the numbers bothered me. They were too clean, too symmetrical, like someone had designed them to look natural. I've learned something about deception. Real mistakes are messy, fabricated ones are elegant. That's when I walked into Emily's office. She didn't ask why I was there. She never did. She just listened, that quiet, patient listening that made you feel like your tools mattered. She studied the documents, page after page, then finally said, "This isn't incompetence. This is intention." I remember leaning back, crossing my arms. "You think someone's manipulating the department?" She paused, longer than usual. "I think," she said carefully, "someone is manipulating you." I laughed. God, I actually laughed. Weeks passed. Every lead collapsed. Witnesses forgot details. Data trails ended abruptly. Evidence contradicted itself. It felt like kissing smoke inside a locked room. And through it all, Emily stayed close. Late nights, two exhausted professionals pretending caffeine could fix fatigue. "You solved this," she would whisper. "You always do." Those words, they weren't encouragement, they were conditioning. But I didn't know that yet. The dog began with Marcus Hill, my old mentor. Retired, but still sharper than half the force. After listening to my frustrations, he asked me a question no report had forced me to consider. "Who benefits from you falling, Mike?" No one. Wrong. Someone always benefits. That night, I sat alone with the files. No voices, no pressure, just me and uncomfortable weight of reflection. And for the first time, I stopped looking at suspects. I started to looking at proximity. Who had constant access? Who knew my theories before I spoke them? Who gently redirected my conclusions without ever appearing to do so? The answer didn't crash into me. It crept in, slow, reluctant, terrifying. Because some realizations don't feel like discoveries, they felt like loss. I drove to Emily's office before dawn. The city still half asleep, streetlights flickering like tired witnesses. She was already there, calm, as if the universe itself had rehearsed this moment. You figured it out, she said softly. No denial, no shock, just acceptance. In that instant, my entire career flashed before me. Not the case, not the victories, but the conversations, the trust, the belief that somewhere in this brutal profession there had been something genuine. Emily hadn't been assisting the investigation. She had been shaping it. The manipulated data, the vanishing trails, the carefully engineered dead ends, all orchestrated, all precise, not for money, not for power, but for a cause she believed it justified everything. I needed you to see the truth, she whispered, just not too soon. Those words, they didn't sound like confession, they sounded like heartbreak. And that was the cruelest part, because betrayal wrapped in sincerity is far more devastating than betrayal wrapped in malice. People think detectives fear criminals. They're wrong. Criminals are predictable. What we fear is misjudging the people below. The case closed with applause. Mercer called it a triumph. Chief Grant praised my perseverance. The department celebrated integrity restored, but no one documented silence that followed. No one recorded what it feels like to solve the truth and lose your sense of reality at the same time. I solved the biggest case of my life and uncovered the one truth I was never prepared to face. Even now, years later, I still hear her voice sometimes, calm, certain, almost kind. You figure it out. Yes, Emily, I did. I just wish I hadn't been the last one to see who you really were.